Hello and welcome to our weekly Energy Shot podcast. This is astrology news from Matt Taylor, which is the best Kabbalistic astrologer I know.
Oh,
and
stop it. Keep going.
We have decided to produce this podcast in order to give you like really the higher knowledge of the planets, so you can maneuver your life around like what's going on and can harvest those new energies that are in, positive energies that are existing. We will give you some coaching tools, some wisdom.
Yes.
And how are you, Matt? How is life?
I'm good. I'm well. I'm recovering from a stomach bug, as you know. So I'm now out the other side. Just a little bit of a resonance of a little bit of flu. I think I got because I was, susceptible to that. So yes, it's good. Just to share a little bit. I don't know. In yoga, if you have a special moments through the year, portals and things like that, I'm sure you do. But just for Kabbalistically, one of the things that they're sharing is that from the full moon of Aries through to the end of the first week of Gemini, which is a 7-week period, we go through a period called the Omer, which means that the light is coming in a lot harder. So we have filters, we have the surrounding protection shields around us, that as the energy comes in from that big central force, we have things that melt it down. We have one before, the 10 Sephirot, we call it Kabbalistically, which is like a filter of light, bring the light into the universe so that we can receive it. But we also have things around us, right? Now, these things during this 7-week period, this one around us sort of becomes weaker or kind of disappears. It's like an ozone layer, right? And lets the light in more direct. And so we're in a kind of boot camp. So people think, well, if I'm getting more light, that's a good thing. But really, it's too much. So we are receiving too much light. And it's like we are in a boot camp to manage that light ourselves. So actually, because we're in a period of too much light, we become more reactive, and people around us become more reactive, and we're very sensitive to little things. And so the boot camp is really to activate that place inside of us that keeps us balanced. So we are now in the boot camp of balance, that I'm not going to be so reactive. It's little tests, little challenges, right? Why is this important? Kabbalistically, we're about expanding the vessel. So we have light coming in, we're a vessel. We're all vessels for light, so that the light can reveal itself through something. So we have to expand the vessel. And the way to do that is through the process of restriction, which is a word we use Kabbalistically that might resonate a bit weird. But restriction is about where I come out of places that I'm unbalanced, right, into a place of balance. So something triggers me, or I do something too much, or whatever. I'm out of balance in many different ways, but I've got to keep myself in balance and in control, right? So I have to practice that much harder during these 7 weeks, so that I can expand the vessel. So here we are coming to the last week. The first week of Gemini is the last week of this Omer period. So we're feeling things, remember, very intensely, especially through the month of Taurus. It happens every year that it's set in the same 7 weeks. It's not a moving thing. Because in the full moon of Aries, we receive an injection of free light, which we're not able to do. We need to earn light. So we receive this free light and then we earn it. So it's a reverse process we're in at the moment, where we're now earning the light we received under the full moon of Aries. So we are going through things that will come into our life that particularly trigger us. It can be very small things, incidental things, but they can make us feel like this, right? So these are not bad nor good. It's an opportunity to really practice that restriction where I need to be in balance, right? And it can pop up in small ways. So just look for it in small ways. And it doesn't mean don't confront. It just means when you're confronting that you're composed. It also means doesn't let things go. You've got to work on your things that are triggering you, but from a place of balance. This is the Zen that we need to have. Now, in the last week, we're particularly in the harder week, because things are much more, in the 7th week, we're much more in the physicality of things. We've come down through the higher realms into the 7th week is the practice of the physical realm. So here, just a little word of warning that all we need to do is go about our lives as normal, but really practice being in the balance.
Lovely. And it's really interesting that this year, even in the 7 weeks, we had the eclipse season.
Yes. Yes.
Did that intensify?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so too.
yeah. So you know that it doesn't always have to be an eclipse season within it,
Yeah.
but we did have that. So some people, like from my experience, went through it many different ways. Some people felt very energized by it. Some people felt very wiped out by it. Some people got sick by it. Some people had problems by, you know, all sorts of things. Whatever the realm, it's always to bring yourself back to a balance, you know.
Totally.
So it totally, because the eclipse periods, people don't understand that they're like, the if you have the new moon eclipse, it's 14 days, 7 days before, 7 days after. They always happen in twos. And then you have the full moon eclipse, which goes for 7 days before and 7 days after. So those two eclipse periods actually go over 28 days, a month, lunar cycles. So they're very big periods that come in and really, even on their own, are working us through many, you know, past things. Now, this one, as you know, was a lot to do with Taurus and Scorpio. So it's very much around, what am I letting go of? What am I healing? What's deep inside me that I need to not hold, or what's very superficial and material and physical to me that I'm holding. So it's all about letting go of something. So in that process, it's about being balanced as well as you go through it to the best possible degree. Don't force yourself, don't fake it, but to the best you can. Yeah.
What I saw in my clients is there came a lot of old suppressed childhood anger came up, and I think it's because of the Scorpio aspect of
Old
it,
trauma.
like the old trauma that really like was bulking up from the subconscious landscape, and like, hello, I'm back. And like I saw a lot of that in many people, and I saw a lot of people that usually are pretty well kept together and have their let's say have their strategies to go through life in a pretty good way, and all those strategies like fell away. And so they were really like on a point that like, okay, I knew that this was a topic, but like now I have to tackle it. Like now it's the time I have to.
I feel I went through something like that when I flew to do the
Mallorca.
retreat to be with you. Yes, I felt like all the surroundings that I'd been used to for the previous 2 years, you know,
almost
all
3.
away. Almost 3, yeah, were all away, and I'm stepping into like going back to some kind of, you know, not being just here anymore. I'm going to fly again, and going to bigger spaces, and I'm going to be with people, the same people for a week. And I was, you know, with a bug even before it. So even the few days before it. So really like to let go of a lot of the strategies, or a lot of the well-known things to me was, you know, my body went through a cleanse for sure.
Yeah, and it started like a week before full moon in Scorpio.
Yeah, I was already with the eclipses already going through something.
Yeah. So interesting, no?
It's very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we all have a process. Now we sit here and we talk about our
for me
other people, but, but we also have a process, you
totally.
know.
For me, it was like the coming back to, like I had in the first month of this year, I had a very dark season where I had COVID, and like there was a couple of things going on there. And then for me, the eclipse season brought back the light, but to come back into balance now, to have like both, like the to be back balanced and to be filled up again and to be nurtured again. It's like there was so much light coming in for me, and I really like could move the ship. But now I feel it's balanced again, and it's like more in calm waters, I would say. Very interesting.
Yeah, I feel similar, like with the stomach, obviously emotional hold. And so, you know, there was a lot of emotions that wanted to release through that. I don't know what they were, whatever they were, but I feel now I'm coming out the other side of the eclipse period. We've only got 1 week to go of the Omer period, and I feel like I'm going to come out like a bit cleaner, or a bit
Lovely.
released. So if you're going through it very fast, very well, a lot of miracles, alternatively, just keep your balance. Don't get too excited and caught up in it. Keep rooted, keep grounded to the best of your ability. And then after this, in next week, you can celebrate as much as you like, because it's like, if you're running short of endorphins, it can feel like that. And so the endorphin level might be too high or too low
Yeah, I
in your
agree.
body. This is the same for this. It can feel a little high or a little low. So you don't be caught up in the highs also.
Yes, very important. I agree.
To keep a grounded sense, because then when you come out of it in next week, then you can, feel all the good feels. But this is an exercise in keeping balanced, grounded, rooted.
Love it.
Yeah, as best as you can. All right, so which brings us to the new moon of Gemini, which is what we're doing this podcast under.
Yes.
It's a great energy for podcasting, because Gemini is, well, principally all about messages. And a little hidden secret, Kabbalistically, it's about fusion. Yes. So we know with Gemini, it's very famous for its symbol in the sky. It's the twins, right? The two faces. And people often joke that Geminis have two faces and, and all of that. It's, well, to a degree, but in a positive way. Geminis struggle with identity. And why is that? Geminis meet people as they are. They're very compassionate in this way. So if you're talking to a Gemini, they're going to talk to you knowing it's you, right? And they're going to talk about things you like. They're going to be able to bring forward and they're great communicators, great storytellers, great networkers, great socializers, chameleon-like in their ability to move from one person to another and strike up a very fun, relationship straight away. Yep, they're not like Taurians with the slower, steadier pace. They're Geminis. We're going into the other side of whatever we just had, into the faster moving, quicky, buzzy feeling. So the energy will go like this, okay? So, but they don't have clear senses of identity. So one of their tikkun processes, their spiritual process, is to get to know themselves better and who they truly are. So they're not shape-shifting all the time, right? Yeah. It's ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is our fastest planet. So this is where they inherit the speed from, but it's the closest to the sun. So they are the channel, right? So when the sun represents the force of light that's in the center of the universe, the cosmos rather, and the sun represents that being of just emitting energy, right? It's like that. The sun doesn't receive, it just shares. And the Mercury's job is to channel that energy in. So they inherit this ability to channel, to bring forward, right, new energy. This is what this is why they're so moving and energetic and buzzy and all of that. So they never finish anything, because they're just moving all the time. So the other thing is they never can see themselves, because they're not manifesting. So one of the big sort of spiritual lessons here from the Zohar and the Kabbalists of 5,000 years ago is that we are made in God's image. In other words, what is around me, I can see. So they're very good at like seeing themselves. This is why they have the two self. They see themselves in their own image, but their work is paradoxically, we always know there's the paradox of getting to know themselves better and who they truly are. They're great conspiracy theorists. They're great doubters. They're great bring forward also, well, if this is the story, there must be more story. I don't know enough.
That's what I
right,
feel as well.
right? Yeah. So this is the energy where we can fall into doubts a lot, self-doubts, right? Because, I have all the but if you're so information obsessed or enjoy, then it flips over into the darkness, which is I don't have enough information, or I'm fooling people with information, or I feel fooled by their information. So that's the negativity of the month, is that we need to come with a lot of knowing ourselves and certainty in ourselves through this month. And then that creates the unity, that creates the fusion, right? That is the bit that I am meeting myself in you, right? Which is the great fusion. The great nanotechnology of sharing is also unifying, not separating. So if we go back to the Egyptians or the Babylonians, their biggest thing that they used to really clear out is conspiracy theory, because conspiracy and negative words and bad words, and we call it lashon hara in Kabbalah, where I'm gossiping or chatting about nonsensical things or over talking, right? And just filling in time is even negative words, or of course, you know, saying bad things about others or bad things about ourselves. When this is the great divider, this is the great separator. Bad words, negative words, right? Even in our own mind, to ourselves, to about others, about what's going on in the world. This is the great separator, and that's not what we're here to do. We're here to unify, which is also what Geminis can do very well. And this is the power of nanotechnology, and fusion is very much in this. So we're looking with our words, what I'm coming to, finally, we're looking with our words is to unify, is to bring things together. Okay, so that's the power and the challenge of the month.
I feel that the Geminis, like all the Geminis that I know, are very interested people. They always want to know things to their essence. They ask such intelligent questions.
Very curious people.
Very
yes.
curious people. And they love to understand things with their mind, with to really to really get into the essence of things. And when they understood it, they're like, and then they're very clear in applying it. So I feel
yes, they understand processes very well.
I have a question, because Mercury is now in retrograde and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Does that have an impact on?
Yes. Now it does, right? Because what we're setting in the beginning of the month is really like the seed being injected. So Mercury, being the ruler of Gemini, we're really like, it's important. It's an important planet during this sign, and it's retrograding at the moment, and it's retrograding now in Taurus. So it started its retrograde in Gemini, but it went back into Taurus.
Oh.
So Taurus is, you know, as we know, with the physical things. So it's how the physical world and I express ourselves together. Is we're going to go over what's my expression of my body, for example, or what's my expression of my money, what's the expression of the physical world around me, how, you know, the earth, the nature, the finances, the values, all of that are going to be very important because of the Mercury retrograde in Taurus. Yeah. So it's how the stories I tell myself about that. Now, some of them can be negative, right? The stories about our body, the stories about our image, the stories about our money, the stories about our work, the stories about our nature or our environment, the story about my self-value, very Taurian things, right, are going to come up. So watch for if you've had an issue maybe with your self-image or with your eating or with your body, that could come up. If you have an issue with money or finances, how you value yourself, that could come up. If you have an issue with the environment that you're in, or the nature, or or the earth in general, some people have big problems being here, then that could come up as well. So this is the in beginning. But there's some saviors. There's some saviors that help us. And Mercury, when it goes forward next week, it'll go into Gemini, and we can begin the new stories, right?
Yeah,
so
I love it.
here in this kind of bit, we're reviewing the stories we have, particularly with our physical world, because it's in Taurus. Just to carry on with that Mercury retrograde, it's really interesting. We have 3 usually in a year. And last year, all 3 were in an air sign.
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
remember.
Very good. And this year they will all be in a earth sign. So this means,
wow.
yes. So this means we will be reviewing in Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So Taurus is the first one. And so these are particularly things that are like around routines, patterns, stability, security, finances, job, hierarchies, you know, the kind of patterny things, the routine things responsible things, right? I always find that the people, you think people born in the earth sign of Taurus or Virgo or Capricorn would be most comfortable here. But I often find they're most uncomfortable on the earth, because they're trying to apply a pattern or a routine to things, or stability to things, or security to things, or order to things.
Where there is no stability.
Where there is none around them. So this is the great tension. We all have some earth things in our in our sign, but particularly people born with their moon here or their sun here are really going to feel the tensions that they have because Mercury is shaking it all up. Where it's like you said, where people apply strategy to something and it doesn't work.
I mean, I tried to figure that stuff out since I'm born. I'm 40 now, and I have
they have a great
my
tension
son.
With it.
My son is in Taurus, and my rising is in Virgo.
Yes. So it's a particular tikkun
double
process
earth
for you.
problem.
Right. Exactly.
Double trouble with the earth sign. So
you'll be
I
changing
could feel
your routines.
that a lot.
You'll be changing. You'll look at like your Taurus earthiness will be wanting to be revised. And when you get to Virgo, about where you are very clean and hygienic and pure or responsible, all the Virgo energies, which is why you wear white a lot, right? Because of Virgo rising, right? They like to appear either purified or practical or responsible. And so they wear either browns or whites or earthy stuff or very pure stuff, right?
Very monochromatic.
Very that, right? And they like to feel their surroundings. And that's going to shake up,
look,
right?
I have a tiger sword today.
That's very Virgo. No, so we have the earthy stuff coming through, right? I'm not picking, but this is... No. I'm Aquarius rising, so I have to do something freaky all the time, right? It's something that doesn't make sense, something out of the box, right? So it's a part of our nature. But really, to look in and look at where Mercury is retrograding will be around all of the earthy stuff. So we all are attached in some way. We think about the North Node in Taurus, which is about letting go, and Mercury retrograding is shaking up where we need to go with it a bit more, flow with it a bit more. Don't hold on to the way things are going, right? We need to detach, and we'll all see this year, whether we like it or not, where we hold on to things for false securities.
What I could feel very much, like I meditated this morning for I have quite long, extensive daily practice with a lot of meditation, and I meditated this morning. And what I found this morning was with this new moon in Gemini, I found a lot of old belief systems around money and about getting and being allowed to keep what I really like. And it's really interesting.
That's very interesting.
It's very interesting because it was like this Mercury retrograding in Taurus makes so much sense to me that it's the belief systems because of Mercury around Taurian things.
Yes. So, and that's so good because with Mercury and Gemini, it's all about how we talk or how we think, right? It's all
how we believe, how
that's
we
right.
act,
how the stories we build up, right?
Yes.
So we're going to see those more, or we're going to, if you can just if we take one practice, just listen to yourself or what you're saying. So, one person said to me before this podcast, we were in a session, and I think I have a note here that she said something like, you're stuck with me. So every time she feels she goes into a group or a party, or she rolls up with this, you'll have to, it's my boringness and my awkwardness and I'm not good enough, so we'll come forward. And so, we are more in this month, we're going to be more, or especially this first week, we're going to be very, if we're just a little aware, we can hear the old stories and the stuff coming out of things that we say or think. And we have a big ability to transform that so that we can fuse with people better. As I said, those stories block us from connecting to people, which is ironically what Geminis do very well, right? It's because in a sign, we're cut from the same cloth, right? The great light is also the great darkness in each sign. So here we need to hear the old stories that are separating us from people, and the conspiracies that we have in our own mind. People who are attracted to conspiracy have one already in their mind, right? That's why they go in there. It's not the other way around, right? So listen to those. We had a lot during the virus, and that is because the North Node was in Mercury, right? And it was bringing up all people's susceptibility to separate from other people, right? And then the process was really like how we can come together around different people's points of view, which is what Gemini also does brilliantly, right?
Yeah.
So it is the darkness to light transformation is always coming together in the same package. You know, I don't know about Kundalini yoga, but I know in many other spiritualities, they separate them out. Or if you're bad and you're negative, you're not with these. But actually they're together in the same bowl, right? Do you have the same
Yes, we had our
point?
explanation is a little bit different. In Kundalini Yoga, we say we live on a dual planet. So this incarnation on planet Earth is the incarnation into duality.
Mm.
So we have the negative and the positive, the constructive, the destructive. So both is part of this incarnation.
Mm.
And we
But they
also
come
have within,
together,
they
right?
come together
They
and
come
they are
together.
non-negotiable.
Yeah.
This planet, this is the ruling, this is the matrix of this planet.
Mm.
It's ruled by the duality. And but with the yogic science and with Kabbalistic astrology, it's the same. What we do with that is we say, okay, we're living on a dual planet. And in Kundalini Yoga, we also say we have the negative mind and the positive mind.
Mm.
And in both minds, that we live in, the goal is with the yoga and the meditations to rise vibrationally from our negative mind and the
Yes.
positive mind to come into the neutral mind.
Yes,
In
to
the
reveal the light, right? To reveal the
yes,
light in it. Yes.
to reveal the light in both and to live more in balance,
In
and
balance. Yeah.
in addition to be able to perceive reality and what is presented to us instead of identifying with it.
Yes, and this is what I feel is this month. It's very much
Yes.
that where we can be in the duality and the separation and the
Yes.
and getting space in between us by all these negativity thoughts and words.
Totally.
Because that's where negativity begins.
Yes.
Because our consciousness is not high enough. So all of these tools and these wisdoms is about taking all that separation which exists because you're there, I'm here. It's not to fool ourselves, but actually to understand the real reality is we're all one. Right, we're
together.
all fused, we're all
Yes.
together.
Yes.
And so this is the great two twins. They're
Love
the
it.
same, right? They're the same, but they're separated.
Totally.
This is the signification on the deeper
Of
level
the two of them.
of
Yes.
the two of them. It's fusion, not separation, right? We are all the same, but we sometimes separate ourselves out with our words. And this is the great, for us in Kabbalistically, I'm not there yet. I'm always sometimes with all sorts of stories, but I'm working on transforming all of that out, you know. So this is one of the big tool for this month.
In Kundalini Yoga.
Look, I was just going to move on because just to bring in some more information, and we come back to that.
Yes, yes.
So here, what's helping us is that Mars went into Aries last week. Jupiter is also in Aries, and Mars and Jupiter are hanging out on the same degree in Aries for the last week of May and the first week of June. Mars is in Aries is either on the challenge, it's about wars, bloodsheds, angers, anxieties. So if you combine the Gemini and the negative aspects of Mars in Aries, you get a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting, a lot of bullish behavior. But the positive here being with Jupiter is about beneficence and miracles. So here we can come forward in our identity, which is Mars and Aries in a positive, a stronger senses of identity, which is what Gemini lacks, and really take new risks, see new possibilities, see great miracles for ourselves, if only we have the strength and the endurance to unify ourselves. So this is the really the beautiful part of this moment this week, next week, is to really harness all the positive things that I know about me and speak to that and see that in others and grow this beautiful opportunity of being able to start new things. Aries is entrepreneurial, new beginnings, new possibilities, new creations. And I don't mean artistic, that's a little bit more Pisces, but new creations in the sense of giving birth to things, right? Because we're in the first sign of Aries with the Mars and the Jupiter. It really wants to blow up the new possibility. Here with the war, it will either expand or diminish. Now that is very much dependent on our own consciousness, because really we're only seeing it in our reality because there's something here we're not at peace with. So really, it's a great opportunity for us to really finish the war in Ukraine as well, to take it out of our reality, this is the possibility that we are now in.
I find it very interesting. I just birthed a new product line over the last week. When Jupiter started coming into Aries, like I really, really love this vibration, because the creational energy of birthing new business ideas
Yes.
is like
It's
totally,
huge right now.
it's
Yeah.
huge.
Or excitement or enthusiasm, at least for
Yes,
the ones that you have.
yes,
And or to
totally.
begin them if you've always felt a little bit unsure of yourself. Exactly. It's huge. It's huge right now. So we will see entrepreneurial ideas, new businessy things, new get off the ground things, you know, a lot during these couple of weeks. And also Venus going into Taurus. Venus is in Taurus. Taurians are going to love that. That is finally a planet that's in your sign that is actually fitting,
Finally.
that actually agrees with it, right? And Venus rules Taurus. So we have Mars that rules Aries, Venus that rules Taurus, and Mercury will go into Gemini next week. And so we have 3 planets that are really at home. We also have Neptune in Pisces, and we have Saturn in Aries. We have 5 planets, Aquarius, sorry, Saturn in Aquarius. We have 5 planets that are at home. We call them domiciles. They're all at home. So we're going to have a beautiful, 2 or 3 weeks of these.
Come on, give
well,
us
a little bit longer. But the reason I'm cautious is because planets start to retrograde at the end. And, you know, so we have a lot of good things. Let's say for a month, a lot of good sales in the wind before we go into the second half of the year, where things start retrograding and getting a little bit more challenging. Not impossible, but if you've got new things you want to do, as I said, this year, the first half of the year, and particularly now, is at least get a Facebook group going, or at least get your business name registered, or at least do one little thing that triggers and sparks it all open, you know, especially, you know, with these energies that we have right now. And,
amazing.
you know, so it's very good. It's very positive. It's very good, but to keep the idea of unity, of seeing myself with others, to not feel separated, to not feel outside, to not feel you know, what was everything about that I just happened to me. With Geminis can go through a party and then, you know, and then it's like, what was that about? Because they're just so busy, right? It's got to have more roots in it, right? So to really work on that, and you will see that you will create great miracle this month.
I totally love that as a last sentence. Let's create great miracles in this month. In Kundalini Yoga, we have a really, really beautiful miracle meditation. It's and I think Rama Yoga Mallorca does at the moment every day at 9 a.m. CET a free meditation, a community meditation. On this, it's a Guru Guru Wahi Guru Guru Ramdas Guru. This is a mantra, and it's the miracle mantra, and they do it from this new moon in Gemini up to the summer solstice, which is the highest
which we're working towards.
Yes. And so for any one of you that feels like called to do something exceptional now until the 21st of June from now on, this would be like an amazing opportunity for you.
Yes, it is. And also just Kabbalistically or energetically, what we're doing is, we know we start the soul's new year from Libra to Libra. We are coming towards Libra in 3 or 4 months, right? So once we get closer to the Libra, we start, as I said, coming more into the physical world. So these are our last opportunities to really set in our mind what we want to see as we go through Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. These are the 3 months where the soul is much more with the physical production of what we thought when we started the year in Libra. So we have a beautiful story of the Libran energy, Scorpio, Sagittarius, the beginning 3 months of the soul's year, where we're very high in our consciousness. And as we're going through the year, we're coming down and down. And then we see what our consciousness was into the Cancer, Leos, and Virgos. And that's when we get a chance to say, is it good or bad, and reflect and change and transform before we go back into this higher energy and this higher road rotation from Libra. Yep. So that is the big picture of the year, that we start very high and we come down and we see ourselves more and more.
That makes so much sense.
So over the summer, we really receive where our consciousness
reality.
the physical reality of it, right? Because the sun is about shining, it's about being seen, it's about being outside. And so it shows us really clearly who we are, right? And the manifestation.
Makes so much sense.
Okay. So it's not about good or bad, it's just about being able to see clearly where I'm at in my consciousness, so that when we go into the new year of the soul in Libra, the new moon of Libra, in 4 months, we will be able to go, this is what I need to work on.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I'm writing a book at the moment, and I wrote like last weekend the chapter about the different bodies. And I wrote about the different perceptions into different spiritual teachings, how they describe the different bodies. And one of them was like, one is the classical Abrahamic religion, soul, body, and mind. This trinity. And then in the spiritual community, there's often spiritual body, mental body, emotional body, physical body. There's often used this quartet. And I was describing that, like where that comes from, and then I was also describing the 10 bodies of Kundalini yoga. But it almost feels like, you know, when you were speaking about this Kabbalistic astrology, like the Kabbalists, how they do it, the first 3 months are the spiritual body, then the next 3 months are the mental body, the emotional body, I'm sorry. Then the next 3 months are more the mental body, like how do I think of things and what do I do with that, and then they come down into the physicality of things in the year.
Yes. So even in the body, we're seeing the bigger picture of the soul kind of reflected, that we start very high and we come down more and more into reality, what is the 3D experience for
and
us.
that's even reflected in our hands. The fingertips are in good hand readers say the fingertips are the spiritual idea of something, this high energy, the Libran energy. Then this is bringing it down through the emotional body. There is the mental body, so like really planning, constructing, setting goals. And then this is the actual physicality, the center of the hand.
Amazing.
I think it's so interesting how the same thing.
It's all reflected in ourselves, isn't it? Yes.
So beautiful.
Nature and who we are is reflecting the spiritual process of creation.
Very beautiful.
Yes.
All right. That was wonderful for me, at least.
Yes, me too. I feel very Gemini already. I feel lighter. We had a good chat, and we feel very connected, and we know each other.
Yes, there's so much. I know.
So what do we want to take? I mean, I think it's also good just to finish on, like, we take something from the previous lunar cycle that helps us in the next one. So it's really that idea of I think here with the energies that we need to be able to, like, Tauruses are very slow, but they tend to keep going until the job is done. So here with the Gemini, it's really keep going in your roots, in the earth, and keeping things not too high with the air energy of Gemini, right? We want to take some of the
balance,
the balance and the centeredness and a little bit of the security or the roots in the earth, right, that Taurus have into this month, right? So that we have a little bit more down here in the groundedness and not too full like that, right? Because we have some air in the chart in other places, and Mercury being in Gemini for a lot of the cycle, we will move too fast and we don't go deep enough. So just to bring that forward, and
one step at a time.
Yes.
That's what I do for myself at the moment. I had to set a very, very clear daily structure in order to keep the high energies, to bring them down. So I really start my day with a daily practice, and I need to hold on to that at the moment, because it's so the energies could be so all over the place,
Yes.
that helps me. That's what I do. Like have
Yeah.
a very clear daily schedule of
Mm.
my things that I want to do
Yeah.
and do
Very
them.
good. You're
Yeah.
great. Excellent.
Maybe that helps someone else. Okay. Thank you very much for listening, guys. It was a great pleasure having you this week. And we're back next week.
Yes.
And then we talk more about astrology and coaching.
That's right.
Have an amazing day.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.